and welcome to Crimes Through Time, a weekly snapshot of crime history. Mary Blandy was an affable and well-educated middle-class lady, the only daughter of Francis and Anne. They lived in Henley-on-Thames, where Francis was a lawyer and the town clerk. But by the grand old age of 26, in 1746, it was thought that she had passed the age that a worthy suitor would be found for her. Francis made it known that Mary had a dowry of £10,000, which was a fortune at this time. This is when Captain William Henry Cranston and Mary met. He seemed like the perfect match, one that would be very advantageous for the Blandy family. 20 years Mary's senior and a member of a prominent Scottish family, his father was 5th Lord Cranston. They were descended from the famous Kerr and Campbell clans. He was a Marine in the area to recruit for his regiment. Mary was completely smitten. Unusual for the era, the engagement was long, 6 years in fact, at least a year of which William lived in the Blandy household. The couple intended to get married in 1751, but William kept stalling. Francis became suspicious, and it was uncovered that he was married with 2 children to a woman in Scotland. William had married Anne Murray in 1745, and they shared 2 children. Anne was from an affluent family, and William was given a small fortune on their wedding day. He wrote to his wife asking her to disown him, but he did so under false pretences. He told her that appearing to be a single man would allow him to gain promotion within the military faster, meaning he could greatly improve their standard of living. But when he asked for the marriage to be annulled, she objected and brought legal proceedings against her husband. His attempt to annul the marriage through the courts was dismissed with costs. Francis did not hide his disapproval. He believed that William had no intention of leaving his wife. William told him that an immediate appeal had been filed with the House of Lords, and it was a matter of time before the marriage was annulled. But he threw him out of the house and he returned to his wife in Scotland. It was only a short time after that Anne, Mary's mother, would pass away of natural causes. Mary and William continued to be in contact. He devised a plan that would enable them to be back together and to get married. William sent Mary a white powder, telling her that it was a love potion that would make her father approve of their union. It turned out to be arsenic. Mary put the powder in Francis's tea and gruel, and quickly he became ill, as did a servant who had finished the poisoned food. It did not register with Mary that the potion that she was administering was causing the illness. Doctors were called, and Mary was warned that should her father die, she would be accused of murder. She immediately tried to dispose of the powder and the letters between her and William, but Susan Gunnell, a housemaid, saw her burning them and saved the residue, which was able to be analysed. Francis suspected he was being poisoned and was going to die. He asked for Mary. She did not admit her guilt, but asked for his forgiveness, which he gave her. Francis died on the 14th of August, 1751. Unsurprisingly, Mary was arrested and charged with murder. Her trial began and ended on the 3rd of March, 1752. It lasted 11 hours. She defended herself with, quote, intelligence and zeal. At this time, defendants were not allowed lawyers. She made an impassioned speech where she denied giving her father poison, but admitted to putting the powder in his food and drink, saying, quote, it had been given to me with another intent. The servant testified against her. They had observed her administering the powder, and that she had continued after he'd gotten ill, and that she had destroyed evidence when the poisoning was brought up to her. Expert testimony was given by Dr. Anthony Addington. The first time medical evidence like this was presented in a case of murder by poisoning. His analysis, by today's standards, was extremely basic, but was a fascinating development in 1752. Based on testing the residue collected by Susan for traces of arsenic, these tests proved positive, and the case would make his career. He became the family doctor to William Pitt, Earl of Chatham. His son, Henry Addington, would become Prime Minister and Home Secretary as Viscount Sidmouth. Mary was found guilty and a sentence of death passed against her. Reaction in the press was mixed. Many believed her story, but many thought her a liar. She was given 6 weeks between sentence and execution and appeared to be completely unmoved by the situation. The trial judge's sentence recommendation would have been sent to the Secretary of State and considered by the King and his Privy Council at the hanging cabinet. Few were ever reprieved, but for poisoners it was unheard of. Her last meal was mutton chop and apple pie. She was a well-behaved prisoner and was treated well by her jailers. Mary was hanged on Easter Monday, the 6th of April 1752, in Castle Yard outside Oxford Castle. The gallows consisted of a wooden beam placed between 2 trees. On mounting the ladder, some of the men in the crowd were trying to look up her skirts. Her last words were a request to her executioners, quote, "Gentlemen, don't hang me high, for the sake of decency." She climbed the ladder draped in a black cloth. The hangman climbed a ladder next to her. She was noosed and her hands tied to the front so that she could hold her prayer book. Her legs were untied and her face covered with a handkerchief. They agreed that when Mary had finished her prayers, she would drop her prayer book as a signal for the hangman to turn over the ladder and turn her off. She passed quickly and without a struggle. Now I bet you're wondering what happened to William. He fled to France and joined a monastery when Mary was arrested. He died there on the 30th of November 1752. Also, it was discovered after his death that Francis's entire estate was worth £4,000. There was never a £10,000 dowry. In July of 1752, the Murder Act was passed, which stated that all prisoners convicted of murder be fed only bread and water, hanged within 2 days of sentencing, and dissected afterwards. Mary missed this law, and so was able to be buried in a proper grave. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think of this case in the comments below, and I look forward to welcoming you in the next one.